Hello, Sarah, Paulina, Misty, Sherry, Karina, Lisa, Jessica, Jill, Vanessa, Brianna, Cami, Jennifer, Amy, Mary, Stacy, Yvette, and Nikita. We are halfway through the class. Week 3 is done. We're moving into week 4. And thank you for all of your participation. Thank you for being deeply engaged. Some great conversation. I really appreciate your thoughtfulness and your energy. Ethical dilemmas are always something that stretch us a bit, and I appreciate your insights, use of a variety of ethical theories. And I'm grateful that, especially for Brianna and Misty, to kind of go against the prevailing grain in our discussion and to say, and both of you said, well, you could see from a utilitarian point of view that it would be permissible to fudge the data in order to accomplish a greater benefit for a large number of people, in order to be able to serve people in great need, the people who are homeless. To fudge those numbers would be an acceptable course of action. I especially appreciated the qualifications that you had, Brianna, that you said, well, I would falsify the data this time, and then I would do everything that I needed to do to make sure that it wouldn't be necessary next time. And I thought that was a helpful way of framing things. It helped make it clear that you saw this as an extreme situation and a situation that shouldn't be repeated. And I think that that's kind of a blend of kind of a deontological point of view and a utilitarian point of view, that acknowledging that there is a great deal of value to the rule of not lying. And even though there might be an extreme case where it would be okay to break that rule, it's still a rule worth respecting and working to uphold. And I think that's one of the things to think about in this case. Although it certainly is possible to make a case for breaking the rule from a utilitarian point of view, the one thing to consider is how lying affects the relationships of the people in the organization and the relationships between the people in the organization and the people outside, and how that affects the, what I call the fabric of trust that enables nonprofit organizations to even exist, to receive donations and to function under government supervision and to receive grants and report on them. That if lying in order to serve the greater good becomes a common practice, then it's difficult for us to trust one another, because it's always possible to come up with a greater good that justifies a lie. Just some things to think about. I appreciated your comments, Amy, that you wouldn't tell the lie that you're coming at it from a deontological point of view, and yet it's also true that you might not resign, that you would be thinking in terms of what would be the consequences of your actions, and that you still had kind of a, well, these are the ways that it would affect me, and maybe I would have to think about my my family and my benefits and things like that. That there's a balance to those things. I thought that was a helpful way of thinking about it, helpful way of explaining it. In terms of the Organizations and Ethics Forum, just two quick things. One, as many of you pointed out, there are certain values, I think, that are going to be present in just about any code of ethics. A code of ethics is going to have something about honesty, going to have something about transparency, going to have something about protecting people who report violations of the code of ethics or violations of the law, the so-called whistleblower protections. Just about any code of ethics is going to have things like that. There are certain things that are going to be common throughout business, nonprofits, government, big organizations, small organizations, and those kind of core values are important to emphasize. I think we can't we can't go too far in emphasizing things like honesty and reminding people how valuable it is, how important it is for us to tell the truth to one another and establish a culture of trust. That's one of the best things I think that we can do, and that's across organizations. And yet, as many of you pointed out, it's also true that there are some specifics that will be true in particular industries, or that might be true for a nonprofit that are not going to be true for a for-profit organization. And picking up on and emphasizing and making those points clear is also extremely important. For example, some of you said it is really important that that a nonprofit would have policies about how you treat donors. A for-profit wouldn't need that, but a nonprofit does, and it's really valuable to get specific to help people be as ethical as possible. This next week, we're going to spend some time. You're going to spend some time evaluating codes of ethics. You could do an evaluation of the code of ethics at the organization that you're at right now, or you could pick a place online and do an analysis of a code of ethics from some place that you did some research about. There are guiding questions in the module, in the week 4 module. There's a series of instructions and questions that you could use to guide your paper. If you have any questions at all, please let me know, reach out to me. And of course, if there's any way that I can be helpful, reach out to me. That's why I'm here. Again, thanks for your excellent participation. I look forward to reading your thoughts this week.